Hey everyone, I'm Travis Montague, founder and CEO of Holler, and this is Conversation Nation. I'm joined with Catherine Sullivan, CEO of PhD. Catherine, welcome to the show.
Why, thank you, Travis. I'm very excited to be here.
Before we jump in, you've had an amazing career. Why don't you take a second and just share with the audience your background and what you've been focused on?
I started my career actually on the sales side with NBC, and then made my way through planning and pricing and working there in various different areas. And then I went over to Disney, and my last job at Disney was running all of sales for ABC News. And then I came over to Omnicom to be the head of all investment for OMG. And then more recently have come over to PhD in the last 8 months to be the CEO there. So a very interesting journey to get me to here, but one that I've really enjoyed.
No, so it's interesting this season. We're very curious about the future of advertising and conversational media. A lot has been going on in the world. What recent challenges have you faced as a leader in the media industry as you're trying to navigate?
I mean, look, we're living in unprecedented times. What we've all had to go through personally and professionally over the last 15 months with COVID has been something that, is really something that we'll never see again in our lifetime, or so I pray every day. And that impact has really, it's done a bunch of things. It has, from a business perspective, it has created transformation like we've never seen before. This is not a time in the industry where we can take baby steps anymore. The change has been so much that if you don't take a massive step forward in terms of how you think and interact with media, you could be left decades behind. And I do believe that the biggest issue as a leader I face now is that lack of connectivity. Taking on a company in the middle of a global pandemic was not easy. Trying to keep everybody motivated, knowing how hard we've all worked. I mean, I don't think the entire industry, I don't care who I talk to, everyone says the same thing. How hard. They've never worked this hard in their whole career, right? And I know I haven't. And I also do think that's why the transformation has taken place, because we've worked so hard and that remoteness.
So it's really interesting. As you look at kind of sticking on this kind of thought around how the workplace dynamics and thinking about what this kind of next wave of reopening and starts to look like, how have you been thinking about it as a leader?
It's really, we're trying to be mindful that safety is first, your health is first. But if you want to get together, most of us are vaccinated now. So we're like, let's go.
Yeah.
Where I think it's exciting. Like I'm beginning to see, what that may look like on the other side of this. So I think I need to get everybody in a little bit more and then see how it goes and see how everybody feels and the safety of our employees. And then, take it from there.
I actually believe that it's going to be up to leaders to help reintroduce people and kind of promoting togetherness and getting back together. Because I think the world's going to need a little bit of a jump start. So, connected to looking at the last 12 months, what are some of the shifts that you've noticed over the last 12 months that were caused by the pandemics, and what do you think might stay as a result of that, or the learnings?
So certainly we saw going into the pandemic, I was in a different role running investment for all of Omnicom, and we sort of saw that train leave the tracks in terms of streaming, right? We saw that coming down. We were seeing a healthy growth, and what we're now seeing is that's just jumped, between streaming and just digital video. So I still believe content and context matter, but I do think that people are getting more screen agnostic and realizing that doesn't have to be in your living room. The other, massive change that I've seen is really, as I said at the top, around commerce. And commerce is no longer just practice. It's actually now it's a market. It's really a channel that we have to look at as part of that end-to-end story for our clients in terms of how they need to think about the journey of the consumer as they interact with their brands.
So you're talking about experiences and channels, but one of the things that has been most profound in my mind is the evolution of digital experiences. Or we're literally sitting here in a digital experience with Zoom talking and having this conversation, which might have happened at a conference, might have happened somewhere else usually.
Right.
As an agency leader, what is your advice for brands who are looking to remain innovative and reaching consumers in this really rapid transforming world of new digital experiences? And how much of this stuff are you finding to be more stunty versus truly driving business impact?
In terms of what's going on in the social space and in the digital social space specifically, whether it's Clubhouse, what the great work that you guys are all doing, it's another trend that's here to stay. When I think about how clients need to not be stunty more than ever, like you really need to own your brand values and then line up in terms of how you're going to utilize the various channels from, again, the beginning of engaging with the consumer, who's your potential audience and buyer. Can't think about checking a box, whether it's about, minority owned media, or if it's about, how you look at all the different spaces that actually are that consumer journey. And I think you just have to look at your own habits about how you interact with media all day long. It's no longer in silos. Like, I'm gonna spend this much of my money here, and then that will lead you to here. Like that, it just doesn't work that way anymore. So the brands really, we have been really guiding our clients to not be stunning, to really own your brand, be authentic with that consumer and your audience that is your potential buyer, and own it and be in it, and just stick with it.
So I want to change gears really quickly because I would be remiss not to get to this topic. So, according to a study at the end of 2020, female leadership at the exec level in our industry took a huge leap forward, and you were appointed to lead PhD, and you're building a culture of diversity, inclusion, and belonging is always top of mind. So curious, how do you think about, you're an example of forward, like the diverse leadership. How are you thinking about empowering that in your organization?
I thank you for asking that question, first of all. I spend a lot of time thinking about it because I know what it was like when I was growing up in the industry. And look, there were a lot of people who were really great and obviously lifted me up, and there was a lot of detraction. So I've been very mindful to make sure that I have a very diverse team. I can't be telling my clients that they need to be thinking differently about multicultural, and they have to think about not checking a box and putting X% of their media dollars against that. I think it should be part of that audience, right? We should be looking at it holistically and understanding who your consumer is. And if you look at it that way, you'd be showing up in inventory and in places very differently. I can't be saying that if I had a non-diverse team. So when I have made the decisions and brought people in, I have been very mindful to make sure that the people that are at the entry level and the mid-level, that they see people that are reflective of them. I can't stand when they say, oh, there's no good women leaders or this, like, yeah, there are. You just got to go look, right? Like, we're all here. We're all here.
Yeah.
So yes, I've spent a lot of time with that. So.
No, it's exciting to watch you and your career and the change you continue to make. And so I just wanted to make sure. I would have been very remiss if I didn't touch on that.
Well, thank you for saying that, and likewise to you and what you're building.
Yeah. So as we wrap up here, is there anything else that's on your mind as you're running and building and innovating in this world?
What's on my mind is, making sure that we are constantly having an eye to the future, that what is next, what's next, and how do we get there fastest for our clients. I like to be first because I'm very competitive, but I also want to do the right thing, not just to stay on first, but I want to be able to point our clients. And I do feel that way. Like, our clients' expectation of us is that we're constantly leading them to what's next and not just reacting to what's happening today. So there's just so much going on that's probably it's all of that, making sure we're taking care of our clients, because again, we're only successful in their success.
Well, Catherine, thank you so much for spending time with me. First of all, I started this series because I just love having these types of conversations, and every single time I have them, I learn something new, kind of selfishly. Just kind of get like some great insights and things that I can take away from my own business. So thank you so much. I know our viewers are going to enjoy this episode.
Thanks, Travis. It was great talking with you.
Awesome. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.